Hi, everybody. It's Tim Constantine from the Washington Times, joined for the final time in 2024 by my good friend, David Bozell. Hi,
Hey,
David.
Tim, how are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. You know, last year we looked at predictions for 2024. I've got to brag on one. I said, look, Joe Biden's not going to be the nominee. I did correctly predict his replacement would be a black woman. However, I thought it would be Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
But we had a pretty good year between the two of us on predictions. So I thought,
Yeah.
let's do it again.
Sure.
Let's look at 2025 and see what we think is going to happen. Are there one or two items like the giant stories of 25 that you can just kind of see hanging out there?
Some shtick. First, Tim, I think Elon Musk will land on Mars and declare it to be the 51st state. It will be manned by SpaceX employees and robots, and it will automatically become a swing state. And then, of course, because everyone is a consultant in Washington, D.C., it'll be the most expensive advertising state in the cycle next year because you're sending messages to Mars.
I liked it very much.
Yeah. The biggest story of 2025, I think, unity, and that's also kind of a sticky word, but I hark back to our earlier taping right before Christmas. The coalition that Trump won with is incredible, with the increase in blacks and minorities across the board. And I really do think that his voting coalition is not going to have any patience for any sort of liberal media contrived controversy. And he is going to barnstorm the country. I think they're going to continue to do rallies. He's going to cut a huge swath of government. Doge is for real. The fact that the Washington consultant class and the political class can't get their hands around it is absolutely where Doge needs to be. It will be almost like a phalanx, shielding force for Donald Trump and Russ Vought over at. He's going to be the director of O&B, and they're gonna just gut huge swaths of government that were never authorized to be in the Constitution to begin with. And lights are going to get turned off. And one of the big stories I really do look forward to is when Donald Trump and Russ Vought declare that the federal government has to report to work for 5 days in a row, and
Right.
and see who actually does it and see the percentage of people who actually do it. I think it's going to be a smaller percentage of federal employees than we realize. They're going to think they shouldn't be scared, and they should be.
I think you're absolutely right on all accounts. I think those are, and that last one, the military had shifted back up. You had to come in 3 days a week. And I've got some friends that work at the Pentagon that said, you would have thought they just said you've got to work 80-hour work weeks. When they told people they had to come into the office 3 days a week, people went crazy. No, I don't understand that. That's in the military. That's not even in some government bureaucratic nonsense. I thought, oh my gosh, they've gotten soft and gotten used to things. So I'm with you 100% there. I think politically, there's going to be a couple of things happen. Every new president has a honeymoon period. And it doesn't matter whether you're George Bush, whether you're Bill Clinton, whether you're Barack Obama, every new president has a period at the beginning where America is excited and anticipating, okay, what's going to happen? Except in 2017, the media was pounding. They hated Donald Trump with such a passion. He never got that honeymoon period. This time around, it's different. And you pinned it right there when you said a lot of those niche groups, a lot of those various voter entities, the blacks, Hispanics, women, everybody that he did not do as well with, he did better this time, but they're also discounting the media. They are not listening to MSNBC and CNN and the New York Times and the Washington Post. They're just brushing that aside and they're focused. And I heard an interesting poll this week. Donald Trump, according to a credible poll, has an approval rating of 55% in the United States as of this week. And that's a number that he hasn't had before, even when he was president. So America is hopeful right now. Consumer confidence is way, way, way up. People think he can do, even the people that don't like him expect the economy to do better under him. There is hope, there is anticipation. So I think he will have that 100-day honeymoon at the beginning that he missed the first time around. That's not to say there won't be some salacious story, but I think he's going to be able to implement a number of things right off the bat. He'll put his border policy in place. He'll put the oil and gas policy in place. He will change a number of things. And I think if they move ahead, you mentioned Doge, and I think there's some real popularity among Americans who are sick and tired of this bloated government. I think there's a real opportunity if they move deliberately. They have to move quickly, but with every attention to detail. They've got the right guys there between Ramaswamy and Musk, who are really intelligent, visionary guys. And I think they have an opportunity to change the face of government if they move with some deliberate purpose in those first 100 days. And Democrats will scream, government people will scream, but I think there is enough momentum right now and a 55% approval rating that he's going to be able to make some movement and actually thin down government.
So, Tim, the real difference there is, I mean, for basically 3 decades, the conservative movement has been complaining about misuse of federal funds and just gross overspending on things that nobody ever asked for. The difference now is that we've got huge megaphones to talk about these things and embarrass the federal government. Trump, Elon are top of mind. Vivek has his own massive megaphone. So I'm extremely optimistic that finally we're going to get huge reductions, not just in the growth of government, but huge reductions in state.
I do not think we will escape scandal, however. And this is my prediction for scandal. And there's 2 parts to it. One, I think it will be sex related because it's salacious, it stays in the headlines, and it offends women more than men, even if it's not true.
Right.
Somehow the notion that it could be true gets in their head, and sometimes, and I'm going to get some female somewhere will be mad that I said that way, but I believe that there is a different reaction, a gut reaction, and the assumption right out of the blocks is it's probably true. And it may or may not. I think it'll be a fictional accusation of something totally crazy, and the media will jump on it. I think the big difference this time is America at large, after all the things in the court cases and the bullet going through his ear, America's tired of all the attacks on Donald Trump. They will not buy into it this time the way they did with the Russia with Ukraine and so on last time around. I also think Trump and his team, I talked to Chairman Watley about this, they're prepared. They don't know what the story will be, but they know there will be something crazy come out, and they're prepared. They're ready to handle it. Last time it was a distraction. It got them off track. I think it's going to be business as usual, and they will have one team that handles and focuses on whatever the scandal is that brews up. I do not expect it to derail the attempts of Donald Trump to make change.
Well, I mean, this is why you sue ABC for defamation and George Stephanopoulos. You end up settling that case. This is why you sue CBS. This is another reason why you sue CBS for defamation. That's a $10 billion lawsuit. Not sure where that's going to go. But this is, he loves suing people. And I think he probably took his foot off the gas, thinking that he would get a honeymoon period, to your suggestion, now 8 years ago. And now he's just going to put pedal to the floor, and it's putting all these networks on notice. I mean, every single day, The View is reading some sort of mea culpa. The host of The View are reading some sort of mea culpa, like, "Oops, we didn't mean to say it that way." Of course, so and so denies the charges. So it's actually all part of Donald Trump's media pushback.
I wish he would go back. I don't know if you remember this, but John Brennan, who of course ran the CIA, but also was a Clinton person, John Brennan was well aware when Russia Gate broke that it was fabricated. He knew the origins of that file. And there is record now after the court proceedings of him going and sitting down with then President Barack Obama and saying, "Don't worry about it. America is not really at danger of the Russians. This is a political issue, not a real issue. Don't worry about it." He was fully aware. But then he spent the next 2 years as a paid consultant on CNN repeating night after night some version of, "Well, I'm privy to a lot of information because of the nature of my work. And this doesn't look good for Donald Trump. This doesn't look good." And really intentionally misled the American public and literally said what you just said at the end of it all. When the Mueller report came out, he on air said, "Oops, I guess I was wrong," and smiled and looked off camera. And I thought, That's one that I would love to see someone pursue legally, because in my mind, that's borderline treason. When you are intentionally misleading the public with something you know to be untrue in an attempt to overthrow the president, I guess borderline's being generous. That's treason.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see some ABC style settlements out of some of these guys to keep those guys out of trouble. I Donald Trump is an interesting character in the sense, I shouldn't call him a character. That seems demeaning. I think he kind of respects the game that a lot of his left-wing adversaries played, and I don't think that he wants to go super. I don't think in his core he wants to go super heavy-handed in prosecuting people left and right. But I do think he would want to drag them through a sea of embarrassment. And if they have to sort of, he uses this get on your knees and beg. I can see a situation where John Brennan is getting on his knees publicly and begging and making some sort of charitable donation to the charity of Donald Trump's choice to avoid serious prosecution.
Final question for the new year. Which is more likely to become the 51st state, Canada or Mars?
Mars. Canada is about to toss out his liberal government. It's going to get conservative again. Oh, Canada, thank you finally for seeing the light. I'm still looking out for AOC to start. Everyone, the liberals are starting Blue Sky. I think she's going to start green. I call it Green Sky Airlines. Kale will be on the menu on this airline. It will be no first class. It'll just be safe spaces all across the board. That'll be, you can read the Communist Manifesto as some light reading and be shown videos about how airplanes are bad.
I like it. I like it. Dave Bozell, Happy New Year, my friend. It's been a pleasure with you all year. I look forward to 2025.
Absolutely. Take it easy.
I'm Tim Constantine from the Washington Times. Thank you and Happy New Year.